Þorbjörnsson, Albert skorar! Albert Gunnarsson hefur skorað. Ragnar Bergjesson og skoðamark! Glæsilega gert! Óskar Rafn á móti Bjarna. Og Bjarni með góða sendingu fyrir og það aftur Ingólfsson!
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Besta pod ever. My name is Tryggvi and it's just me today. Mix of scheduling and Víkingur in Europe and things like that meant that it's just me today. So it'll be a quick one. I would advise you to go back to listen to the bonus episode we just did with Stel from This Is Mapa podcast, where we preview the Ammonia game. I think most of the talking points are quite relevant today still. We talked a lot about finances, we talked a lot about Cypriot football. So I think there's still quite a lot to learn if you haven't listened to that episode. But if we just sort of quickly review the results from last weekend, I won't spend too much time on it because it's been a few days now. Top half, Breiðablik won FO 1-0, Víkingur beat Valur 3-2, Stjarnan beat EF 3-0. Obviously Breiðablik and Víkingur stay top. Breiðablik with their usual sort of go top before as they play a few days before Víkingur do, and the Víkingur respond by usually reclaiming the top spot, and that's what happened. I mean, again, I won't spend too much time on it. I think FO and Valur will be disappointed too. Maybe more FO. They didn't really show up too much to this game. Or maybe that's unfair. I think it was a fairly tight game, and then FO just sort of gave them that goal with a corner, and I don't think Breiðablik needed to have worked too hard for that win. Not as hard as they should maybe in a way against FO, and it looks like FO's European dreams are over now. Valur's European dreams aren't a threat now because I mean they were leading 2-1 against Víkingur in a tight game. And they played fairly well, but then Tarek Ibrahimovic living up to his name with two late goals sealed for Víkingur, and it just at least domestically Víkingur don't look like they can lose a game. Away against Valur should be a tough game, and I mean it was, but I don't know, it never looked super under threat at the same time. It's a weird thing to say maybe if they just won 3-2 and especially won it at the death, but I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting a little bit. Let's see how it goes in the next few days, especially after this European results. Stjarnan against EA was the biggest sort of result match shock, I don't know, of this top half. EA definitely didn't show up. I don't think they. Jonþór, the manager, sort of just said that they gave these goals away. The second goal especially, very cheap result. Not taking anything away from Stjarnan, but sort of talking about his own team. Definitely not happy with his own team there. And but Stjarnan very impressed that they can go up against EA and score 3 goals. So they're right behind Valur now. It's so then I have to play against Víkingur and Breiðablik. And that's sort of how this top half is going to be. Can any of these teams take any points away from Víkingur and Breiðablik, or is that just an automatic loss from all these teams? And then it's just games between these teams, because then Valur might have the upper hand still. Bottom half, Besta with a big win against Háká, again also coming from behind. That's huge for both teams. I think Háká were up, maybe being too harsh on these teams, but it felt like they threw it away a little bit as well. Besta are not known for goals, and scoring 2, I think it's, I don't know, it doesn't, especially this, I mean the second goal, I think I can easily blame the Háká defense. They basically teed up Andri Rúnar in the penalty area, gave him a clear shot at goal for the winner. Jeppe Hansen's goal, on the other hand, was just insane. Chip off. Can you say chip off the old block when the block is his brother? I don't know. But big result for both teams. Vestri now leapfrogged Haukau out of the relegation zone, and so this is not over at all. It does look a little bit over for Fylkir. 3-1 loss against Kawa, very similar game to the game that you played against Fram, where they had the ball, they had some chances, they even scored a goal, but they just can't score more than one. And when they concede 3, and they're always going to concede 3 the way they play, a bit sort of, especially towards the end, pushing up. And I mean, even in the beginning, it was after 30 seconds, I think, that Kawa scored. Yeah, they don't look long for this league, unfortunately for them. But I mean, they still have a chance, but it's going to be very tough for them. Another team that we predicted might be a bit tougher for them, Kaur, 7-1 against Fram. That's nobody was expecting that. I mean, Fram had some suspensions in defense, which definitely didn't help. Runar Kristensson was upset with his team, understandably so. It was just a terrible performance, but I mean, it was also just a very good performance from Kaur. Benoni Breki with 4 goals, trying to match Cole Palmer and getting 4 in a half, but not quite getting there, getting this 4th one in the second half. And maybe notably in that game, Odin Bjarkason and Marcus Páll Eldarsson both scored their first goals in Besta. 2 very good, promising young players. These names are I think these 2 names are someone we're going to hear much more about. So that's sort of the results. If we go to news quickly, there's some transfer news already. Fram has been busy. They signed Viktor Freyr Sigurðsson and Robert Hauksson from Leiknir, sort of a forward player and a goalkeeper in Viktor Freyr. Especially in the goalkeeping side, Oliver Isholm has had a pretty decent season, but there's always been these blips. So I think giving a bit of competition through Viktor Freyr, who's already played a number of games, even though he's quite young. So it should be pushing Oliver a little bit for the number 1. And then Þórir Stefán Þorbjörnsson, a player they already have, but has been on loan from Ljungby. Very good season for him. And they brought him in on a permanent deal, which is huge for him and Fram. It was talk that he wasn't very happy with Ljungby, so we expected him to stay in the league, but you would think maybe some other clubs would be looking at him, but Fram nabbed him. So a big signing for them. Keflavík was trying to buy Ásgeir Helgi Orrason from Breiðablik, where he's been on loan with them this season. He's been quite good in the Lengjudeildin. They didn't go up, so they were trying to strengthen to get a second crack at going up. But Breiðablik said he is not for sale, and sounds like someone we will hear more about next season. So remember that name for next season. Kaur continue to be busy. It's not confirmed yet, but Julius Mar Juliusson from Fjölnir looks to be pretty set. That's what the reports are, at least. And it's quite a big fee, sort of 7-8 million Icelandic kroner is being mentioned, which would be one of, if not the most expensive transfer fee between Icelandic clubs. We talked about it before. We talked about it with Stel that in the preview podcast. That finances aren't something that's being there discussed quite freely. I don't think so. It's nice to know we don't know the figure. We don't know the figure, but it's what's being talked about. Nobody's come and said it's wrong. Well, I'm sure someone will try to dispute this at some point. But it's a big figure for a young defender from Lengjudeildin, but he's a hot property on the market. So it would be a big signing for Kaur. Let's wait for that to be confirmed. Another big signing, which just came in today, is Samuel Kári Friðjónsson, who Stjarnan have just confirmed on a 4-year contract. The 8-capped Icelandic international who was released or who left Greece after his contract expired in the summer. He was linked with a lot of clubs in Scandinavia and in mainland Europe, but for some reason it didn't quite work out. So he's still a free agent, and he signed a 4-year deal with Stjarnan, which is a huge signing for them. He hasn't been at Besta since 2013, where he was at Keflavík, but so it'll be fun to see him back. He's been a very solid player in Scandinavia and Greece and other places. So very excited to see him next season. Quickly on the manager situation, there's a lot of talks right now that Tuva's seat is very warm. It's getting warmer, even though he just joined. Disgruntlement from fans, from the media, from a lot of places. I think people expected someone to come into this job and just get an immediate bounce. That's not quite what's happened. Rune Kristinsson has been linked to the job, but like we talked about last time, he's distanced himself quite heavily from that position. He said he's going to be the front manager next year. Right now we don't know anything. It's all speculation. I think it'd be very harsh to sack Tuva at the moment. He has a 3-year deal as well. I think it would reflect quite poorly on Valur to fire someone you just brought in and who hasn't really had any time to put it on his stamp on this team. But there's not a lot of patience in Valur, so who knows. Fylkir's situation, like I said, they look like they're in trouble. They look like it's going to be hard to stay up. Rúnar Páll has been offered a new contract, but I think most people are expecting him to leave. It's been a tough few years for him. He's done a great job with very little resources. Names being mentioned are Brynjar, the assistant, and Herman Reðarsson, who actually another managerial renews. He resigned from the IBF job, having just gotten them promoted, citing his family sort of situation, as in he doesn't want the cap to live in Vestmannaeyjar anymore, and it's tough to have to commute there. So he could be a name for the Fylkir job. He's been there before. Quickly about Lengjudeildin Afturelding. They are the second team, apart from IBF, to go up. Congratulations to Afturelding for Mosfellsbær. This is the first time they're up in the Besta-deildin, winning 1-0 over Keflavik in the final. They lost in the final last year against Vestri. So this is huge relief for them as well, just to not lose another final. But we're very excited to see them next season. I'm sure we can talk more about them over the next few weeks, and then especially over the postseason. And then maybe quickly about the European game last night. So we managed to see it thanks to being able to watch it on Disney Plus. This is we're not being sponsored by them, but they can throw us some money if they want, Disney. 4-0 loss to Ammonia. Great first half. I was speaking to Stel a little bit over, chatting when we were watching it, and he was very impressed, especially by Tarek Ibrahimovic. I think everyone was, but then unfortunately he had to go off injured after being kicked in the head by a Víkingur defender. I think it was Ekurot or Vatnam. I don't remember exactly who it was right now. And then Víkingur seemed to drop back a bit too much, and his first half was good. It ended on 0-0. Second half, it just seemed like they were not able to cope physically and mentally with this game, maybe mostly physically. They lacked the energy. I think also mentally a little bit, in the sense that they pressed, but sort of pressed a bit panicky, a bit sort of aggressively, which meant they left big holes, which they couldn't cover physically. So it's I think it says, sort of conceding 3 goals in the last 10 minutes says a lot about their fitness levels and maybe frustrations. Arna said after the game that you can see that the level is above Icelandic football. There's more, they have more energy in their legs. They run faster. They kick harder. The passes are more precise. We're just a little bit behind them. And I get it, but it's also Shamrock Rovers drew against a Cypriot team. And Shamrock Rovers was a team that Icelandic fans and Icelandic teams were sort of measuring themselves up against in the qualifying, saying we should be the same sort of level as that. Clearly not. If we take these 2 games sort of side by side, compare them, because they equalized in the last few minutes, being a man down. I think even, and I cannot imagine Víkingur holding on, equalizing, especially with 10 men. But it's a learning curve. It's their first group stage. They have a few more, so we'll see. They have some time to make up for this loss. So not the end of the world. Good performance. Players of the round: Benny Brege, 4 goals, automatic star. So best game in Kaur shirt, according to Oscar. Brilliant player. Deserves a better team than this Kaur team. Hopefully it means the Kaur will be better, not that he leaves, but I'm sure he will leave at some point. Tarek Ibrahimovic scored 2 goals against Valur after coming on, including an injury time winner, like we said. Even though it doesn't officially count in the star giving, he played really well against Ammonia. So really good week until the head injury. A good week for Tarek. And then Jeppe Pedersen, a fantastic goal, and inspired his teammates to a vital home win, Vestri, that is. So 3 very, very, very nice, interesting stars. this week. Finally, listener questions. We asked about how do you feel about player getting themselves a red card to get tactically suspended, or a card to get tactically suspended. 71% of people said it's fine, and I think that's probably reflective of reality. I don't think people would look at it that bad. We asked if Valur should make a move for Rúnar Kristins, 50-50, which I thought was, you would assume that if you look at it objectively, they probably should make a move for him, but I guess you also have to think about that also means firing Tuva, which I don't think they should do. And then we asked before the game, who's going to win, Omonia, draw, or Víkingur, and most people said Omonia, but only by a little bit. I think a lot of people believed in Víkingur, or at least a draw. So unfortunate result there. If we quickly preview the games that are coming up this weekend, tomorrow, or time of recording, so Saturday, Fram kick off the weekend with a game against Vestri. That's going to be quite big. Can they bounce back from that absolute drubbing against KR? Or are they just on the beach now, or will they really make sure this does not happen again? Vestri definitely hope that they're on the beach. The other relegation group games on Sunday are Kawa against KR. Kawa have said that they are going for the Fossitabyggaren, the President's Cup, which you get if you finish top of the bottom half, which they won last year. We'll see how motivated they are now after the cup and everything, and definitely being safe after that win against Víkingur. We'll see how motivated they are, and also how good and motivated Kawa are if they can follow this up with a win. And then Víkingur need to win this. It's pure and simple, and they cannot lose points against this Víkingur team. But at the same time, Víkingur, if they don't get it, I think they also need to win. I think a point is not enough against HK. They're running out of time. So both teams needing a win. The championship group all plays on Sunday. So IA against FH. Both teams needing a win if they're going to have any chance of challenging for Europe. Víkingur Stjarnan and Breiðablik Valur. So Stjarnan, again, if they want to challenge Valur, this is a game they need to get some points off, or otherwise they're not going to catch up. And Valur as well, if they want to try to secure third place, a point would do them very well here. But Víkingur and Breiðablik are locked horns, trying to make sure they don't trip up, make sure that they go to that last round of games tied on points, so that they have as an absolute final on the last game. But that's it. I want to keep it short for this week. Hope to be back to normal next week. But until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy the football, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.